Hey guys, your friend Yash Avasthi is back and this time with a new topic that is India's tour to South Africa. Well, one thing which you should keep in mind about touring to South Africa is that Asian teams don't win there. Well, before the series, the records of Asian teams were as follows. I have had a lot of statistics to prepare before making a report on India's tour to South Africa. India won just 2 tests out of 17 tests. Pakistan won 2 out of 12. Sri Lanka won just 1 test out of 13. And as expected, Bangladesh lost all the 6 tests they played in South Africa. Well, the other factor is that not only the team's performance, but also the individual performance even dip when you play in South Africa. Well, India first to South Africa in 1992 in the captaincy of Azharuddin. And when you'll talk about last 3 tests in South Africa, it is 2-4. The 2 tests have been won by India and they have lost 4 out of the 8 matches that they have played in last 3 tests. And let me tell you that the numbers are becoming quite amazing, quite interesting as the time period is progressing. And before the two, it was said that this was India's best chance to win in South Africa. The reason I am telling you is that there are players who have been secondary to it, who have went there and who know the conditions there and who are much more experienced than the previous teams. And when it comes to handling pace, you know the pitches of South Africa, they are quite pacey, they have a lot of bounce in it, and there is also a seam movement there. So, players like Virat Kohli, Cheteshwar Pujara, and bowlers like Shami, Bhuvneshwar, Bumrah, they all had the firepower to back with the ammunitions. And I think that the pitches which were prepared were as much usual as are prepared in South Africa, but India had the firepower to back it. And I must tell you, I was a little skeptical about India's mind, what India's approach will be when they will to South Africa. You know, when any team goes to South Africa, they crumble well. When you'll talk about Ashes, the England players, when they don't have the confidence that they will win there, they crumbled. And yes, the same happened. Well, there's one condition that now in South Africa there will be 6 players of color and 2 black Africans. So when you'll talk about black Africans, they could have even played their batsman Bavuma, who is a black African. Fab du Plessis will play as he is a captain, and he played those tests. So only one player who was getting it difficult to get into the squad because of the conditions was AB de Villiers, and we would have double cartwheels. We would have done double cartwheels for it. And yes, now this condition is cumulative. It can be it can be balanced even after the later part of the series. This new rule can be followed even in the later part of the series, but the accumulation should be that the 6 players of the color and 2 black Africans should play in the matches of South Africa. Now, first test was held in Cape Town. There is a mountain type structure at one part of the ground in Cape Town, so the wind blows only in one direction. And so, since the wind blows only one direction, there's a lot of seam there. That the track which was there in Cape Town was as usual green. It was bouncy track. And South Africa they won the toss. They elected to bat first since they never wanted to bat in the fourth part of the innings and they wanted the Indians to bat in the fourth part of the innings. And surprise selection of the team took place. No Rahane was there. Rohit Sharma was playing. But when India came out to bowl, they were all guns blazing. Bhuvi just took 3 wickets in his first spell, and South Africa were at the back foot. But then, again, 2 experienced players in South African camp, AB de Villiers and Faf du Plessis, they came, they built up a partnership, They stretched the score of South Africans. They brought the belief back into the South African camp, and they all stretched to get a score of nearing to 300. Now, when Indians were batting, it never looked that they would bat long. They were 92 for 7 at one stage, and it was all Hardik Pandya's knock. Since India was tottering at 92 for 7, it looked that they will not get even past 150. But then Hardik Pandya's knock of 92, that counter-attacking innings, took India to 209. That gave some confidence to the Indians. Now, the track was getting a little bit difficult to bat on as the game progressed, and the South Africans got out at 130. And then the Indians came out to bat. They were given a target of 208, and they were all out for 135. No Rahane, they lost the match by 73 runs, and Rahane could have been a great factor of this test match. So the first test match was lost pretty much easily. Philander was adjudged, one on Philander was adjudged man of the match. Now the second test took place in Centurion. To everyone's surprise, the pitch there was very much quite Indian type of pitch. There was a spin there. Now in this too, lot of pitches have been Indians. In a lot of subcontinent feeling is there in the pitch. The reason I am saying is that because since Indians have had the firepower to back that greenery on the pitch, that is why the pitch that was prepared was quite the one which was which will spin. Now in the second test that was played in Centurion, the Indians were not ready for the pitch. The pitch was quite a subcontinent type. 31 overs were bowled by the spinners on the first day of a South African test, and lot of questions were to be answered. Lot of questions were to be asked to the groundsmen. There was another surprise selection again, that Rohit was chosen above Rahane. No Shikhar Dhawan, Rahul took its place, and to everyone's surprise, the star of Indian bowling, Bhuvneshwar Kumar, was not playing this test. Ishant was in. Well, the South Africans batted. They batted pretty well until and unless they lost 3 wickets in just 6 balls. The floodgates got opened when Amla's run out was there with that big hand of Hardik Pandya's. But then the same story got repeated. Indians batted. Pujara got run out. And only Kohli took Indians through that pass score of above 300 by scoring its 21st century and by scoring 153 runs. He brought the Indians back into the game. But since they were not known, there is a tendency that Indians, that whenever a new player gets to play in the match, especially a bowler, the Indians are not prepared for it. And in this test match, Angidi was the one who was the debutant for South Africa. He was that black African who was the debutant, and he took 6 wickets in the second innings, and then India lost that match by 134 runs. Another overseas tour, another overseas loss. 2 matches were lost. Lot of questions were to be answered. Now the factors that they lost the series will be discussed in the later part of the video. We'll talk about some good part in that test series. The third test was held at Wanderers. I'll tell you later on about the pitch, but when it comes to questions that why we lost 2 test matches, the factors were lack of practice matches. Well, there is a proverb, there is a saying that if you are failing to train, then you are training to fail. And the same happened in the test series. There was no practice match held, and so the Indians had to combine those players. They needed some time to get those right proportions of players, and so they could not afford these things. And in the present series, with just 3 matches in a test series, they could not do that, and so they lost the match. And since you may have dogs, you may have 2-3 dogs at home, they may treat you the same way even if you lose the series or win the series, but the humans will not. The humans will not treat you the same way. You will get those beatings of words when you lose the series. A lot of questions were raised about Kohli's captaincy, And then came the third test match at Wanderers. About the pitch, there was a lot of questions on the pitch. The pitch was not suitable to play cricket on, but early call was not taken by the umpires there in the Wanderers. India was lucky to win the toss. They batted first. That gritty Pujara took 54 balls to score first run on the board. And then the game progressed. Kohli rode his luck upon, and then few unwarranted means shambolic shots were played by India. Those grotesque shots by Pandya, they were all there for the Indians to think upon, but still they managed a score of around 180 190. Then the South Africans came to bat. The Indians bowled pretty well. The South Africans had the pressure to bat in the fourth innings. They got that mental advantage by taking a lead of 7 8 runs, and then the Indians came out to bat. The Rahane factor, which was missing out from India in the first two test matches, came out all guns blazing in the third test match. He scored 48, which was more than a century on in other previous occasions. He batted as a vice captain of a number one test team side. He scored 48 with the help of Kohli and with the Shami. Shami even scored few shots and he scored few runs, and India went on to score 247. And for South Africa to chase 240 there at that pitch of wonders, which was bouncing, which was giving hurt, which was hurting the players, it was very difficult. They knew they could lose, and on that fourth day, Dean Elgar got hit on the head. He said that it was a length delivery. The length delivery got bounced and got hit on the head of Dean Elgar, but the case was that that delivery was from the bouncy track. It was not of the length, it was from the bounce. Lot of questions, lot of meetings were held. The Indians claimed that they took all the guns on their body, they took all the balls on their body, but now when it came to South Africa to bat in the fourth innings, why are they not willing to play on the track in which on which we played? They knew that it would be difficult to chase a score around 240, and they played. Amla and Elgar played bravely. They got a stand of around 119 runs, but then downfall got started. Floodgates got opened. Indians quickly got all the wickets, and it was a great victory at the Wanderers, one of the finest test victories in the Wanderers. South Africa won the series 2-1. Man of the match was given to Bhuvneshwar Kumar, and man of the series went to Vernon Philander. Well, when you'll talk about the ODI series, the first ODI was held at Kingsmead. Kingsmead on its feet with the two spinners Kuldeep and Chahal, who in combination took 5 wickets. They wreak havoc in that first ODI, but then those middle wickets really held. Faf du Plessis scored a century. South Africans, with the help of Faf du Plessis and with the help of Chris Morris and Felix Weo, those two all-rounders also staged a partnership with Faf du Plessis, and they started to create good scores. They went up till 269, but that was quite less for Indians as they were in a good position to score those runs with the presence of Rahane at number 4. The middle order got strengthened. Same story, the openers went out, but then Rahane and Kohli show began. Rahane scored scintillating 79. Kohli again, Chase Master scored a century, and India won that match. Before getting the target, Rahane and Kohli got out, but then Pandya and Dhoni took Indians home safely. The second ODI was held at Centurion. India demolished South Africa. The two spinners really demolished them. Chahal took 5 wickets, Kuldeep took 3 wickets, and they got their least score in South Africa. That was 118. The previous least score was 119 of South Africa. And India chased that score with 9 wickets in hand. They just lost Rohit Sharma. Dhawan scored a half century, and that famous fact that when 2 runs were required because of those dominant rules of India of ICC, they took lunch. They came after 40 minutes of lunch. and then scored that 2 runs to win the match. The third ODI was held at Cape Town. It was all Virat Kohli who scored 160 runs out of 159 balls. He was lacking that strike rate, but he maintained that strike rate, took India to 303, and it was far more difficult for the South Africans who were really guessing those spinners, those hand of spinners which will be googlies. They were guessing it, and they all got out in that heavy pressure of 303. They all got out at 179, and India won that match by 124 runs. The fourth ODI was the pink ODI. The Indians were leading the series 3-0. They were wearing pink, and every year they wear pink just to raise the awareness of the cancer, so, of the breast cancer, to raise the awareness of the breast cancer, they all wear pink. The South Africans wear pink, and they always take one ODI to spread that awareness by wearing pink. Everyone was pink. That pink color brought a new sensation, new confidence in the South Africans. Two factors were there. One was the middle order of Indians were not striking the whole series. The openers, the first three batsmen were really hiding that fact. But here, the Indians could not consolidate that start which was given to them. They got out at 289. The rain came into factor, the target got reduced, and to chase 207 in a T20 format with just 28 overs to play, even the spinners could not work, and the South Africans won that match by 5 wickets. The fifth ODI came. Now the South Africans had the pressure that they could lose the game. The Indians scored 274. The South African bowlers did well to reduce the India to 274. Now that was a good work done by South African bowlers, but since that guessing procedure was still on by the South Africans, even after bringing those five wrist spinners in practice matches, the South Africans still weren't able to guess those spinners. The South Africans got out at 201. Now I have the statistics of the combined overs of Kuldeep and Chahal. First ODI, they both bowled 20 overs, gave 79 runs, and took 5 wickets. Second ODI, in 14.2 overs with one maiden, they gave 42 runs, took 8 wickets. Third ODI, they again took 8 wickets for 69 runs. Fifth ODI, they took 6 wickets for just 100 runs. In exception to the fourth ODI, where they gave 119 runs in 11.3 overs and just took 3 wickets. Now that was the attacking posture of the South Africans, in which they won that pink ODI, and continued that record of winning all the 5 pink ODIs on a streak. But since the fifth match was won by India, India sealed the series by 4-1. There is a still one ODI left, but Indians would try to give chance to the other players, since they did a mistake by benching Rahane in the test match. They lost the test series, but still they would give some chance to new players since they have already won the series. Kohli, after the match presentation of the fifth match, said that they had a target to win the series 5-1. They will try to win the series 5-1 even after giving chance to few players. Three T20 matches will also be played in Johannesburg, Centurion, and Cape Town respectively. Suresh Raina, the great T20 star, is back. Now when you will talk about few points, the first fact is that when a player is in form, you need to milk that form. You need to score runs, and the same was done by Virat Kohli. Rohit also shrugged his bad inertia and came into a good form by scoring a century in the fifth test match, although he was involved in two runouts of Kohli and Rahane. And I think the silver lining is that the Africans have been unable to pick those wrist spinners. The other thing is that there is a need of the South African camp for even a single person to stand up, raise his hand, and say that I have few ideas up my sleeves, because it is getting difficult to face those spinners. Just sweeping the ball and trying to come out of the crease to hit straight down the ground is getting difficult for them to try every now and then. Well, it is in augur. It augurs well that even Rohit Sharma is getting those runs. He got back into the partnership. He had an average of 10 something around in South Africa, but still Kepler Wessel said that he could not get form in South Africa because of his technique since the ball seams around. But still, I think that he got his form. And I think that the spin twins should really, the spinners should grow their bag of tricks if they need to go long in their career for India. And I think that just providing yourself a pillow and not working hard will not help the South Africans. They need to get up for the final ODI to get some confidence getting into the T20 series. So this was the report of India's tour to South Africa. I hope you would like it. Subscribe my channel and stay tuned. Thank you.